Alright, welcome to another episode of Pints of Interest. What we have for you today is one that we've been looking forward to trying for quite a while. It's from Brooklyn Brewery. It is their Black Ops. This is the beer that they claim to have no knowledge of. What it is essentially a stout aged in bourbon barrels. It's a Russian Imperial Stout. The way they do it is they brew the Russian Imperial Stout, they age it in bourbon barrels for 4 months, and then re-ferment it, basically put it in the bottle flat and re-ferment it with champagne yeast. Give it that fermentation, and they brew about 1,000 cases a year of this. So, not incredibly rare, but it can be a tough beer to come across unless you know where to look for it. So we happen to have a nice hookup and got a hold of it. This particular one, do you remember how much it cost us?
$42.
$42, so a little bit on the expensive side. This is a 2011 version. We're drinking it in 2013, so it is 2 years old. So there is that benefit as well. When you bought it, it was about a year old.
Yeah, I got it in 2012.
Already, so we did buy it a year old, so that's why it's a little bit more on the expensive side. If you can find this probably at the brewery or someplace where it is more readily available, I'd guess maybe around $20. You may be paying me. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and drink this out of a snifter, as that's an appropriate glass for a Russian Imperial, and see how it is. Very carbonated, as you can see from the champagne yeast that they use to ferment in the bottle. Not sure how the aging process will affect that, but we have had it before. A little bit of a fresher one, so we might be able to tell the difference then between that. See, nice dark color, just slightly tan on the top. It's so fizzy that it didn't even really get much of a head on it. Based on that, a little bit of an oily on the sides there. It is 10.7% alcohol.
It varies from year to year.
The serving temp for this, probably around 55 degrees, where you want to have it. And the availability for this, it's a limited release kind of thing. They do have it about once a year. All right, we're gonna give this one a little aroma sniff here. Kind of the aroma I think you'd expect with a Russian Imperial Stout. Kind of like a roasting molasses type thing, a little tobacco. There's a little of that buttery vanilla just because of the bourbon barrel aging.
Yeah.
Maybe slight hint of smoke with the tobacco there, but all of that's really light on this particular one. There's definitely that sugar kind of aroma there, maybe from the malt, all the malt that's in there, and it comes across. I think it's a pretty pleasant aroma.
Absolutely.
Not a surprising one for if you've had some Russian Imperials before, especially bourbon barrel-aged beers. I mean, it's kind of this standard aroma that a lot of them tend to.
Right, but it does it well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yes, it does it well. So let's go ahead and give this a taste.
Yeah, interesting. I get more tobacco bourbon out of this one than I
get
get the last one.
Yeah, it's tobacco, very tobacco-y.
More so than what I remember from the other one.
It really backs off the sweetness quite a bit, though. You expect it to be a little bit sweeter based on the smell and getting this vanilla and some of those notes in there. That, oh man, there's going to be a real malty molasses, like thick, syrupy kind of beer, and it's not. It doesn't do that at all, especially for a 10.7%. Now it does end warm. Yeah. I feel the heat a little bit. It ends with a little bit of the warm alcohol. I wouldn't say sting, it's not that heavy, but the warm alcohol in my mouth, like I know I've had something that's higher in ABV.
Yeah, right. My tongue's a little tingly.
Exactly. A little bit of that tingle, a little bit of that mouth coating, coats the mouth pretty well. Has a very pleasant finish for the level of alcohol that's in this.
Yeah, from what I remember, when the first time we tried Black Ops, it was in 2012. And that one was a bit sweeter and had less of the tobacco.
More of the chocolate.
Just, it's, as opposed to sweet, it's bitter. So, you know, so it's...
But it's weird because it's not a coffee bitter. I'm not getting coffee notes in this at all.
It's not that roasty. All right, so we've all tried this one. It's actually been a pretty surprising beer. I think it kind of went contrary to some of our expectations with this. Ryan, how do you feel about this as far as someone should try this? And we have to take, I think, some kind of cost into account here. Definitely.
Yeah, and that's the reason why it would hit a try if. I think it's a very good beer. It's a very good example of a bourbon-aged Imperial Stout. It's expensive. I'd say that there are some pretty decent ones that are significantly cheaper that you might want to try to see what you think of the style before jumping straight to this.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to second the same thing. I mean, it really comes down to a cost versus deliciousness ratio. Now, this is a delicious beer. It's actually a little bit more savory than I thought it would be, just because of how woody and oaky it is. And with that tobacco quality, I mean, it really comes through with this one. As far as bourbon barrel-aged beers are concerned, I think this is on the lesser side. I don't really know if it's that enhanced by being bourbon barrel-aged, whereas a lot, I really like the vanilla notes it adds and that woody quality. This is definitely woody from that, but it doesn't really feel like a rich, full kind of tasting beer.
That's fair.
I'd say try it for this. I'd give a recommend if you're under the $20 range. If you can get this for like,
Oh, yeah.
if you somehow get this for like $15 up to 20, somewhere in there, absolutely recommended. Give it a try. It's a good beer. Might not like blow your mind out or anything. Very solid beer, just a little expensive.
Well, I didn't pay for it, but just what they're talking about, yes, it's a little on the high side. But yeah, I would say try if as well. Looking into doing it, or you're starting to get into those, give this one a try if you can find it. Or in our case, if you have someone else that purchased it and is willing to share.
Sure, that's a good point.
So, definitely give it a try then. But yeah, I agree. It's a try if along those lines.
Because of the price. So yeah, definitely quality beer, just kind of done in a little bit by its expensive nature that we found tends to be a little bit pricey. Now we did try this also in a pint glass and a tulip glass. Found that the pint glass just really isn't great for this beer. The tulip glass actually just made it a little overly frothy with the carbonation. Was very heavier. Gave a little bit more of a creamier mouthfeel, but kind of muted a lot of the woody tobacco flavors that you get out of this. So the snifter, which is the actual recommended glass, is the one to go for this. All right, so I guess that's all we have to say about our $42 bottle of Black Ops. Yeehaw! If it wasn't so expensive, I'd almost say this would be a great place to start with your bourbon barrel-aged beers, because it doesn't overly do the bourbon qualities. It's really a beginner beer as far as that aspect is concerned. It's not crazy complex with the bourbon, at least the 2011 one isn't. 2012, I think, had a little bit more complex, had a little bit more of the sweet notes in there that made it just an overall better beer. So go out and try the 2013. Who knows what that's going to be? That totally could be worth the money, and just do it same style, just slightly differently. That tweak just makes it awesome. So for Pints of Interest and Brooklyn's Black Ops, cheers. And I'm the one with the glass, so cheers. Oh wow. For more beer reviews and episodes, you can go to pintsofinterest.net, on Facebook at facebook.com/pintsofinterest. You can also follow us on Twitter at Pints of Interest for 140 character beer reviews.